Funny thing is, I did not set out to do a radio review on this trip. In fact, I didn't even set out to use these radios on this trip.
Yeah.
I was doing a review of a totally different radio, and honestly, we didn't really care for it.
No.
And I'm like, well, I've got the Rocky Talkies in the back. They were charged up. I figure, well, let's give them a try. And full disclosure, they sent these to me quite a while ago. And while I thought they were good radios, they're expensive. They're $180 a piece. And I was just kind of struggling with how can I present that to my audience when it's a very expensive handheld radio, when you can get good radios for $45, $50, right? And we pulled these out and we started using them, and immediately there was a difference.
Oh man, they're better than every radio that I own.
They were. One thing that impressed us the most, the volume.
Yeah.
They're loud.
And clarity, too, because others can get loud, but they get distorted at higher volumes and all that other stuff.
The other radios we were using, we had to turn down to about 50% because it was just too distorted. These things come in loud and clear. We were both, at one point, we both had our radios on, or our stereos on, listening to music, and we could easily hear each other. That was nice. Man, I cannot believe that we really only saw one other vehicle on the entire trail.
Absolutely crazy and completely different than the experience that I last had on it. I loved it.
I mean, there were two other vehicles parked at Murphy's Hogback campsite, so a total of 3, but we only passed one of them on the trail the day before. That is just unreal.
It gives you a good feel like you're actually remote out there, which you are. You are quite far away. You're in the wilderness.
This is the Rocky Talkie Expedition. It's a Colorado company, which is kind of cool.
I like that.
They have a lot of basic features that you would expect on a radio, a scan feature, the NOAA weather alerts are available. You can set up privacy tones. You can set up repeaters, headsets. They have a range of accessories for them. You can do dual channel monitoring. The screen on it is crazy. I mean, you can see this thing in absolutely direct sunlight. You can read that screen, and because it's not a standard LCD screen, you're not going to scratch this thing up. So very, very cool. I think there's 2 things. I'll talk about the negatives first, right? There's 2 things that I kind of wish were improved on here. One of them is they're kind of difficult to program.
Yeah.
If you're setting up repeaters or you're setting up privacy tones, it's a little complicated to get them set up to do that. But for the typical user out here, on trails and stuff, you're not doing that. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's totally possible, and I've done it. We have our trail channel set up. I've got repeaters set up. So it's possible, just a little convoluted. Secondly, when it's not active, there's no way to tell that it's turned on. There's no LED light, just a little green dot, enough to tell me that it's turned on so I don't forget and leave it on when I get out of the vehicle.
I agree with that. I think probably the reason they didn't do it is for this extremely long battery life that this thing has, but still.
That's a good point. So we used these all day yesterday. I mean, that was a long day. And at the end of the day, they were at between 65 and 70% battery left. So they claim that you can go 3 to 4 days of use and on one charge.
Which I believe.
I absolutely believe. We're on the second day of use, 50%.
40% for this one, but this one was lower from the beginning.
I mean, these hadn't been charged in a few weeks before this trip, and I'd used one of them just a couple times for some spotting. Other than that, I mean, those 2 little things, being very nitpicky, I got to admit, I don't think they're deal breakers. Now, the radios come with 2 antennas. We have the stubbies on here. They do come with a longer one for certain conditions. I think the stubbies are great for trails. We had 0 issues with range. I mean, we were probably at the worst part, we were maybe 5-7 miles away on rolling terrain, no line of sight, and we started getting a little staticky.
Yeah.
But anywhere else, it was absolutely perfect. They do come with this little strap with a little carabiner on it for idiots like me who always drop their radios. I can just attach that to a belt loop. I drop it, not a big deal.
This fits in the bullet point radio mount. It doesn't sit flush in there, but it sits actually really nice and doesn't rattle, unlike the one that we were using beforehand that was rattling the whole time for me.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we didn't set out to do a radio review, and I'm going to apologize to Rocky Talkie for not doing this sooner and really putting these to a solid test, because I like the radio.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean,
full disclosure, they have never sent me a radio, and I'm likely going to buy one of these because I like it.
So the LED, no LED light to show that's on, a little difficulty programming for repeater codes or something, and the price. But at $180, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you do.
know?
You're getting quality, and
The belt clip, metal, not plastic.
Yeah.
These things are rugged. I have no worry about dropping them in water or whatever. They're supposed to be somewhat waterproof if they go in water. The mesh on here is supposed to just drain the water out. So overall, I'm pretty impressed.
yeah, me too.
So Rocky Talkie, sorry about taking so long, but I really needed to be in a situation where we needed to use them as opposed to something else.
Yeah.
Turns out, best radios we've used.
Absolutely.
So if you are looking for a quality, high performance radio that's going to check all the boxes, except maybe price, because that is a concern for some people, I don't think you're going to go wrong with Rocky Talkie. This is not sponsored by them. They did send these to me a long time ago, but they're not paying for this. This is our own opinion after just using them on trails for 2 solid days.
But a note about the price. Like, I am not going to ever have a dedicated radio set up in any of my Jeeps. I have multiple
a
Jeeps.
mounted
Yeah.
mobile system.
But this radio, I can justify buying this radio because it is so good for my purposes. Like, it's a quality radio that I can move from Jeep to Jeep or spotting or whatever. That's why I really like handheld radios instead of, mounted in the vehicle radios. So
Because you're still pulling out a handheld.
Yeah, exactly. And so even though I do think that is extremely expensive for a radio, especially when you can get cheaper radios, it's worth it, I think, for me to do this. So
That makes a lot of sense. So check them out at rockytalkie.com. I'm sure they're going to be happy that I finally got around to reviewing them, but we were kind of forced to, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
So again, high praise for these things. So check them out. Dewey, thanks for participating with me. Yep. And we will see you later. Be safe out there.